Residents of Half Moon Bay are accusing the government of neglecting their concerns over deteriorating roads and disruptive electricity supply. SKNNewsline contacted the president of the Half Moon Bay Residents Association, Mr. Peter Sherozero, in an effort to see firsthand some of the issues that have been at the core of their complaints. On arrival, SKNNewsline observed many concrete roads that are half overgrown with wild bush, severely cracked road surfaces, potholes, and in some areas the undermining of the road due to subsurface water movement. In addition, we were shown one road in particular that has a bend. On one side of the bend, there is a thick area of young trees, but one will not know that where the bushes end is not the side of the road, but instead it is near the center of the road. One has to be careful moving through the trees to find the edge of the road. Several previously cut trees could be seen. Their stumps remain embedded in the concrete rather than removed. One resident explained that it is particularly dangerous at night, and when it was previously cut, persons drove over to the stumps, damaging their tires because no one expected them to be in the road. He expresses his concern and disappointment over the situation.
We came over here 15 years ago, put all of our life savings into this property. We're fully fledged residents of St Kitts and Nevis now, but to an extent you have to feel a little bit betrayed by what we were promised at the time we started building and what's actually transpired. We've ended up in a situation where our infrastructure is so bad that it's destroying our vehicles. We're subjected to power cuts at least once a week at the moment, sometimes for longer, sometimes for several hours a day. And we're now in a situation where our property is basically unsaleable in the current market, so we don't really have an option but to hang on here as long as we possibly can. Don't want to claim that I'm uniquely badly off, but this is not promoting tourism in the islands, that's for sure. Visitors come here and they're seeing an area that's neglected, that's crumbling. It doesn't reflect on what you would want St Kitts to be presented as.
Minister Ian Patches-Liburd was contacted about the matter as he holds the government's ministry that is responsible for infrastructure. The complaints of the residents about the deteriorating Half Moon Bay roads and erratic electricity supply were presented to him.
I have consulted with the Public Works Department in relation to the condition of the roads in the area, and I am also aware that some work was done in that area. It is sad to say, though, that I witnessed some months ago, after some reparation work that was done in the area, the barriers were moved and the heavy equipment really damaged. These caterpillar tracks damaged the road. Matter of fact, most of the road damage were caused by these caterpillar heavy equipment tracks that were used or employed to do the construction of many of the buildings in the area. Remember, I believe that in the Half Moon Bay development, there it was done by a private developer who put in the infrastructure, including the roads, the utilities, water, electricity. And after some period of time, based on the law, the government has the responsibility to maintain those roads. Without trying to make excuses, we take full responsibility for the maintenance of those roads, which I believe have fallen within the purview of the Public Works Department. And we will maintain those roads.
Minister Liburd said that when Team Unity got into office, he discovered a high level of infrastructure deficiencies, including that of roads, and that in some residential areas there were no roads at all. He said it was necessary to prioritize the whole island.
As a matter of fact, we looked at the overall cost to put road infrastructure in these areas, and we found it prohibitive. In that just 25 of those areas, it would have cost us $69 million to put in that road infrastructure. So we took the decision to give priority to areas. The Island Main Road was our first priority. And as we speak, we are somewhere around Sadlers in relation to the resurfacing of the Island Main Road. That was the main infrastructure in respect of roads that we focused on. Part of that was the Old Road Bay project to build resilience across Old Road Bay. Because I'm sure you are aware, I think it was after Hurricane Maria 2 years ago, when that road was completely cut off from the entire Island Main Road network. And we said, this won't happen again. Because people who traversed from Old Road Bay to Basseterre, or from Deep Bay via Old Road to Basseterre, had to go all the way around St. Kitts to get it. And we said no. So we're spending $39 million just on the Old Road Bay reconstruction. We're removing the road seaward to deal with the sea level rises, because when you looked across it seemed as though the road was sinking, when in fact the sea level is rising. So we said we'll move seawards to mitigate or reduce the danger from the soil slippage and rockfall.
Nevertheless, Minister Libert wants to assure Half Moon Bay residents that their roads will be addressed, as he spoke about the secondary roads on the island.
It does not lose sight of the fact the secondary roads, whether in Tabernacle, whether in Buckley's Shadwell, in Half Moon Bay, right, would be addressed. Right? They may not have been addressed in keeping with the desired time of those living in the area. And I empathize with them. I apologize on behalf of Public Works and by extension the government. But we will address those roads, and we will address them in a timely manner and in keeping with our budgetary constraints. That I can say about the roads in Half Moon Bay, over there in Atlas, down there in Phillips.
According to the minister, there is a lot of road works to be done, and the entire island network will be addressed. But he's asking citizens and residents to be patient.
So I would ask all fair-minded citizens to bear with us, because we do have our budgetary constraints, and we understand, we empathize with them, but we will do things in an organized way. And when we fix it, and when we repair them, with a long-term view in mind, and not any old patchwork, so to speak. Again, the Half Moon Bay area will be addressed, right? And we will address it as soon as practically and financially possible. In terms of the electricity, though, I am not hearing of any blackouts or any daily disruptions of that area in terms of electricity. That to me is some news. I'll investigate that. I know we've had disruptions, unplanned disruptions in certain areas, but that is understandable in terms of the system of generating electricity.
Notwithstanding, residents of Half Moon Bay believe that they have been neglected for a very long time and need to have the issues addressed before they get any worse.
If we see the tractor that trims the verges once a year, we're lucky. And then it only trims the main road, the road from the main road to Connery. So the other roads are totally ignored. The repairs to the roads themselves is also ignored. I've been here for 10 years now. And apart from that, I would say any service, public service that we are responsible, we should be able to get from the government is also completely ignored, such as water, electricity. Um, it's sad. And I don't know why we're being treated like this because Frigate Bay is right beside us and they seem to be able to get all the services they need.
Glenn Bart for SKN Newsline.
Parliament on Thursday had the second reading of the Tenure of Office of the Prime Minister Amendment Bill 2019, which seeks to establish the limits for the holder of the Prime Minister. The debate saw the government side proffering a case for term limits, while the opposition argued that the amendment is not possible unless government had its support. Mover of the bill, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, said that such legislative reform would promote succession planning that will allow the next generation to take the mantle of leading St. Kitts and Nevis forward.
The first real attempt to bring constitutional change since the Independence Constitution Order of 1983. Many before us have talked about constitutional reform, and they did nothing, not even when they had a sufficiency of representatives to effect constitutional change. Today, Team Unity makes history in being the first to actually propose real and substantive change to the Constitution of 1983. This is an historic bill because today the smallest country, indeed the smallest nation state in the Americas, is leading on fundamental matters of governance, the tenure of office of the head of government.
Prior to the debate, the opposition in a press release argued that it would not support the bill because it was an attempt by the government to prevent opposition leader Dr. Denzil Douglas from becoming Prime Minister again, since he has already served 4 terms as Prime Minister. However, Attorney General Vincent Byron, during Thursday's parliamentary debate, said this would not be the case. Meanwhile, opposition MP Conris Maynard argued that making an amendment to the Constitution to allow for term limits for Prime Minister requires support of 2/3 of the elected members of Parliament, which means government would need the opposition's support. However, Member of Parliament for Nevis 9, Premier Mark Brantley, countered those arguments by accusing the opposition of not supporting the bill and not wanting good governance. Member of Parliament for Nevis 11, Patrice Nisbet, on Friday, as the debate continued, supported Mr. Maynard in that the public and the opposition should be consulted on term limits.
Were there proper ventilation of the ramifications of this idea or concept of term limits? Was it truly properly ventilated to the people? Were the people told what are the ramifications, financial and otherwise, with regards to term limits? If the section demands a certain level of cross-party dialogue, well then some sort of process would have been put in place for that cross-party dialogue to occur.
The bill, which had its first reading on February 21st, 2018, seeks to amend Section 52, which is concerned with the appointment of ministers. The Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis Tenure of Office Prime Minister Amendment Bill 2019 represents the first real attempt to bring constitutional change since the Independence Constitutional Order of 1983. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like your boat when you're at sea and you get away from everything. Your home and the security of your daughter's things. And the car that you've had for too long, but after all these years, you just can't let go. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
Quality Diagnostic Laboratory, your newest partner in your healthcare. We offer the latest in on-island clinical laboratory testing, a comprehensive range of blood tests, urine tests, stool and other testing such as cholesterol and sugar testing, as well as hormone, kidney and liver functions, and many more. Quality Diagnostic Laboratory is located at the corner of Keon Street and Fines Avenue, opposite the Greenlands pasture. Our opening hours from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday are designed with you in mind. We are also open on Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. for your further convenience. Call or contact us at 465-6657 or email us at info@qualitydiagnosticlab.com. Quality Diagnostic Laboratory. Excellence in performance.
SKNFA Premier League football is back. SK Newsline and Voice of the Caribbean Radio present the Premier League Match of the Week. Live video stream and radio commentary on St. Kitts and Nevis's premier online media networks. Every Saturday at 8 p.m. Watch live football action at the Warner Park Football Stadium on the SK Newsline Facebook page, www.sknewsline.com, and at the Facebook page of the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association. You can also listen to live radio commentary at www.voiceofthecaribbean.net. It's the Premier League Match of the Week on SK Newsline and Voice of the Caribbean Radio every Saturday at 8 p.m. Don't miss it.
Banners, commercial signs, decal printing, canvas prints, license plates, posters. We at Multigraphics are dedicated to providing quality products and service to our customers. Our team takes pride in the craftsmanship and is passionate about its work. Every job, large or small, is important. Most of our customers come to us through referrals. That's because our number one priority is service. We serve a wide variety of customers, such as restaurants, retail stores, manufacturers, trucking companies, and many more. Our capabilities include design, production, and installation. How can we help? We are located at Bird Rock at the Woods Right compound. Call us at 869-763-1511 or 784-491-7599. Multigraphics.
Premier Mark Brantley has confirmed the increase in debt acquired by the Nevis Island administration, which he said resulted from factors related to the temporary closure of the island's largest hotel, the Four Seasons Resort. Responding to a SKN Newsline question on the increased level of debt being carried by the NIA, Brantley indicated it was necessary to incur higher debt levels in order to reduce the negative impact on Four Seasons employees. While Premier Mark Brantley could not provide figures on the level of debt recently accumulated, he did explain the reasons behind the increased level.
Based on what I can say, however, we have had an increase in our debt, largely associated with the difficulty that we would have experienced this year, when we would have had to rely on overdrafts and the like to ensure that our bills were paid as a government. Difficulties meaning that one of our main engines in our economy, the Four Seasons, was offline for 4 months, with the attendant losses to us in terms of revenue. So I would have to punt and tell you that I can provide a more detailed answer to you on Tuesday when we have the budget, the reading of the budget. So I would ask your forgiveness in that regard. In relation to sustainability, I would want to correct your language if I can be so presumptuous. You're saying the federal government granted us money and we are dependent on federal funds. I think that Mr. Bart is a senior member of
the increase in debt level came at a time when the NIA was also engaged in important infrastructure projects aimed at supporting the development and growth of the island. Glenn Bart for SKN Newsline. Suggestions on radio talk shows and on social media platforms that the Nevis Island administration cannot sustain itself without financial support of the federal government are inaccurate, said Premier Mark Brantley. Brantley said in the first instance, the NIA is not receiving financial support with federal funds, which is a common belief aired on several talk shows. Brantley felt it was important to correct that belief during a recent press conference.
For my own purposes, I want to be very clear that the federal government has not granted Nevis anything, and there are no federal funds that Nevis has received. None. I want to be pellucid on that. I think that language is very important when we engage. All that Nevis has received is a portion of the citizenship by investment proceeds that have come to the country of St. Kitts and Nevis for the negotiation of a document, that document being the passport of St. Kitts and Nevis, which in my respectful view is owned as much by you as it is by the post and cotton grower. We are one people, one country. And this notion that I've heard, even sometimes from the politicians, that Nevis is somehow getting help from St. Kitts, that's nonsense. And I want to say that very clearly. It is abject nonsense. And I think that language has to go away.
And even on the proceeds received from the Citizenship by Investment Program, Premier Brantley indicated that the proceeds received are not yet at the level due to the NIA.
Let me go back in time. When we put this unity construct together, and we negotiated three parties, PAM, PLP, and CCM, the issue of citizenship by investment flows was one of the critical issues. You know why? Because under the Labour NRP administration, Nevis got nothing. Whenever some little money trickled over the Narrows, they put a word next to it in the ledger, loan. And when money was spent on our sister island of St. Kitts, the ledger says grant. Two different words, two different meanings. And we had a problem with that. So when we sat to negotiate, one of the issues that we put squarely on the table was there had to be a more equitable dealing with citizenship by investment flows. Now, why am I emphasizing that? It's because I want the people of St. Kitts, Mr. Bard, to understand that this has nothing to do with St. Kitts people money. It has nothing to do with VAT collected in St. Kitts. It has nothing to do with customs duties collected in St. Kitts. It has nothing to do with corporate taxes paid in St. Kitts, business licenses and other fees in St. Kitts. The people of Nevis have never asked the government in St. Kitts to send any portion of that. We have said, give us an equitable share of the monies that come from the Citizenship by Investment Program.
But can Nevis's economy stimulate enough activity to support its future growth and development if the CBI funds are not available? The Premier believes that Nevis's economy has been performing.
So, what came and nothing was the same thing. But Nevis is still here. Nevis continued to survive. And it means, therefore, that it was and continues to be the resilience of the Nevisian people and the Nevisian economy that keeps us afloat. What has happened is that since 2015, we have sort of formalized some mechanisms for Nevis to get some share. As I've said, and I've said so publicly, not yet a fair share, but some share of the CBI proceeds. And that is the monies that have come. And when that money has come, it has been used for specific projects, which are dotted all across the landscape. The Mondo track is there. The pier at Wally is there. The work at the Treasury, new Treasury building in town is there. Work at the hospital is there. The work over at the airport, for example, is there. Police station in Newcastle is there. So there's evidence of what the money has come and been allocated to and earmarked to. The overall economy of Nevis, I think the best indication is where I started. This year, we had a very difficult year. One of our main engines was down, 4 Seasons. But our people got paid. Our bills were paid. I know some vendors out there hearing me say they didn't get paid yet, but I'm planning on paying them too. Right? So the reality is, Mr. Bart, that we survive how we always survive. We had to go to our banks. We spoke to them. We asked them to extend our line of credit to give us a little latitude on our overdraft.
According to Brantley, it is the intention that the CBI proceeds will be shared based on the populations of both islands. He said the matter is still being discussed at the federal level. Glenn Bad for SKN Newsline.
For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook at digitalprintskn. Digital Print Plus for all your printing needs at the best quality.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune in for Caribbean music and programs, news, sports, entertainment, vibrant discussions, and much more. Tune into programs like Get Up Mornings with Carl D. Springett, live on weekday mornings. Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis with Andre Huey. The Caribbean News Hour and The Quiet Storm with Magic Man. Tune into great music to inspire you each day, only on Voice of the Caribbean Radio at www.voiceofthecaribbean.net or on our Android mobile app in the Google Play Store. Just search Voice of the Caribbean. We're also on TuneIn Radio. Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check our website for program listings.
Why read the news when you can watch it? Introducing SKN Newsline, the Federation's only online TV news platform. SKN Newsline is an online TV news platform covering news in St. Kitts and Nevis. You can watch SKN Newsline on our website, www.sknnewsline.com, or Facebook page at www.fb.com/SKN Newsline. SKN Newsline, your world, your news.
KVK Enterprises at Boyd's Housing Development, Trinity Parish, St. Kitts. For all your t-shirt printing, banners and signs, promotional products, shipping, motivational speeches, computer classes, agro-processing, art and craft, and desktop publishing. Come to KVK Enterprises at Boyd's Housing Development, Trinity, St. Kitts. Telephone 661-0118 or 765-7270. Email drkhrystus@kvklives.com or visit www.kvklives.com. KVK Enterprises.